Hi, it is I, DPX. Welcome to another video. Today, I'll be ranking every show I've seen this year, or last year in fact, from the worst to the best through a tier list, and at the end I will order them from worst to best. I'll be going into spoilers for each show. If you haven't seen the specific shows, there are chapter cards that you can click and you can skip so you don't get spoiled. So yeah, this is going up a lot later than it probably normally would have, because Cobra Kai Season 4 decided to come out on New Year's Eve. So how the fuck was that gonna happen? And then, you know, I just haven't gotten around to doing it for a while, until now. So yeah, let's just get right into this. But before we do that, you know what to do. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell and leave a comment, or I will pull one of your eyes out of its socket. Alright, starting up with Arcane, and you know what? I'm already gonna have to make a new tier, and that is where Arcane goes. Arcane, I think without question, has to be the very best adaptation of a video game ever. Movie, show, book, the best ever. It takes the world of League of Legends and kind of does an origin story, but kind of is its own separate thing, and has many of the characters from League of Legends, and tells such a fantastic story, such like, I care about these characters that I normally don't give a shit about, because I don't play League of Legends, and I hear it's a rabbit hole that I don't want to go down. It's just, there's a lot to this show, and it's fantastic. All the characters are likable, like, the relationships don't seem forced, everyone just has good chemistry, you know, and I cannot wait for Season 2. Holy shit. Alright, next up is, what's this one? Castlevania Season 4. We're off to a good start. S tier. You know, Castlevania is a show that is really good. Speaking of, you know, video game adaptations, Arcane is definitely the best video game adaptation. Second best, I think, might be Castlevania. Some excellent television, I guess we can call it. I don't know if we can really call this television or if it's streaming, but whatever it is, excellent entertainment. Castlevania is, and they capped it off with the best season by far. Tied up all the loose ends, but left some open because I heard they want to expand, which they very well could, you know. And I'm excited, and I'm happy. You know, it's, you know, rare and somewhat disappointing that a show this consistently good ends this early, but like, it's better that it ended right now while it's really fucking good than had it overstayed its welcome. Chucky! This was a show I was not excited for at all. It looked absolutely terrible. But then I watched it, honestly, like, ironically, and I kind of liked it. A tier. I didn't like the first episode too much. The first episode, everyone's just insufferable. Everyone's all just moody, just a dick to everyone else. Like, the main character, Jake, it makes sense why he's, you know, just not happy, just upset. He's, you know, our main lead. He has an abusive father, and he's also gay, and he hasn't really come out yet, so, you know, he's got a little bit of that, you know, he's a little nervous. But, like, everyone else was just insufferable. But the rest of the season, honestly, was really good. The finale didn't really, you know, it didn't really stick the landing. That's another issue I had. Some characters, the one character, Junior, had, like, a weird arc. But yeah, Chucky was a really good, I really liked this season. Alright, Cobra Kai. This is Season 3. I'm gonna give it an S. Now, I love Cobra Kai, and there's actually 2 seasons of Cobra Kai on this list. You'll see where Season 4 goes. The whole reason this video is has been delayed. But no, season 3 I thought was a great season, and it follows up season 2 with a like expectedly but also well done, like weighty season. Like the whole season, like a lot of the characters like Sam, Miguel, Johnny, Daniel, even, that like for the whole season is just sort of like recovering from, like, you know, what happened at the end of season 2. They spend the whole season doing that, and you know, it's compelling, it's fascinating. You know, it doesn't feel like a drag that they're taking the entire season to like come back from such a horrible event. You know, so that's really cool. Why is it an S tier, not SS tier? Because I gloat about this show. Well, there are 2 seasons of Cobra Kai, and the 4th season goes in SS tier. And Arcane and Cobra Kai season 4 are the only 2 going in SS tier. I feel like Arcane is objectively the one that should go in SS tier. But I fucking love Cobra Kai. I would have honestly put both of these seasons in SS tier, but I'm gonna keep them in 2 different tiers. And season 4, I think, is the best season of the entire show, cause, like, you know, the first season, this is very much like the first season. The first season was a great season of television. It's a great way to follow up the, you know, Karate Kid movies. Season 2, I noticed something. Season 1 is exempt from this, but season 2 has some characters that you just don't like how they just mess up with. You know, Tori and Miguel and Dimitri are the 3 characters that stand out to me in season 2 that I don't like too much the way they were presented. And then season 3 is mostly Tori again, and then Robbie I didn't like too much in season 3. Season 4 doesn't have a character that you don't really like too much, or at least, like, when there's a character you don't like them because you're not supposed to like them, you know? And that's the case with season 4. Plus, Terry Silver comes back, and like, he's a fantastic villain. They ground him, which I didn't think they would. And they said, like, I was fucking crazy 30 years ago. I was, like, on cocaine, terrorizing a teenager over a high school karate. It was great, and I cannot wait for season 5. Dark Side of the Ring. This is an interesting. It's something I never reviewed. I never reviewed this. It's this docu-series on Vice about wrestling. It's about specific events that happened, you know, and like certain controversies or you know, stories that happen, certain like murders. It can get very heavy. It's a great watch, honestly. I'm gonna give it a B because it's nothing too crazy, but I really like it. Doom Patrol Season 3. Now, I love Doom Patrol. The first season is absolutely fantastic. The second season is absolutely fantastic, and then it sort of just ended abruptly. It just like, oh, we're done. You know, it just ended. It literally ended in the middle of like the final climax of the season. I didn't mean to let go, but yeah, I was gonna put it in A, because season 3 had the unfortunate duty of trying to pick up after the just completely abrupt ending of season 2. Yeah, it definitely feels like we missed an episode. That missing episode from season 2 is not the start of season 3, you know. But you know, I really like the way they like the whole rest of the season was great. They wrote off Dorothy, which I thought was strange, but we got to learn a little more about every character. Like, you know, with Robot Man, I really like what they did with him, kind of making him age in a way. That was interesting, and I'm interested to see season 4. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, one of the many Marvel shows that came out in 2021. I'm gonna give it a B. I really liked it when it came out, but upon thinking about it over time, I still like it. It's a good show, but it's not great. There's a lot that goes on. Like, it's very unfocused, and the the Flag Smashers and Carly Morgenthau, they try to make her and the Flag Smashers sympathetic, and then they didn't make her too villainous, you know? And then the power broker twist was so obvious it didn't even feel like a twist. But I thought it was a good show. The dynamic between Bucky and Sam, I thought was great. The action is phenomenal in this show, and it's just a solid addition to the MCU, I feel. While we're on the subject of the MCU, Hawkeye, which I'm gonna give an A tier. I don't know, originally I didn't think it was the best MCU thing this in 2021, but as time went on, it is definitely the least ambitious of the shows we got, aside from maybe What If, which we'll get to later. But it's definitely the least ambitious, but therefore it has a lot less room to screw up. You know, they brought in Kingpin, which was awesome. A little disappointing how they kind of just did him dirty in this. I don't think he's gone, but and I'm also not convinced that Echo needs her own series, but other than that, this was definitely great. Kate Bishop is a lot of people found her annoying. I thought she was fine, and I think a great addition to the MCU. Invincible, I'm gonna give an S. Invincible's an S tier. If not for like the memes that came from this show is actually like, I honestly I started watching it, and like it was kind of similar to Chucky, although I didn't watch it ironically. I watched it out of curiosity because I didn't think it was gonna be too good, but I was wrong from that very first episode where it's the first episode is like, oh, you know, superhero looks up to other superhero. I want to be just like you. But then at the end, there's just this huge twist. Omni-Man, you know, and it's like, oh, this is one of those shows, you know, and the violence, I don't get off on violence, okay? I don't think this show is necessarily better because of the violence, but in a way it is, because the kills feel a lot more, you know, like meaty, a lot more a lot more impactful when they're like their eyes are just popping out of their eye sockets, you know what I mean? And just the finale, holy shit, the finale, like I didn't think this one season is a 10 out of 10. Amber was a huge issue, and the animation was a little wonky at times, but the finale, I think, like, if every other episode was just alright, and the finale was as good as it was, I think it would still be S tier. Yeah, I cannot wait for season 2. Back to the MCU, Loki, which I'm gonna give an A. I really like this show. I've heard a lot of people sort of, like, over time just be like, it's not bad, but it's like, I mean, it's fine. But I thought it was really good. It's definitely up there with the best MCU show, and you know, it has some major implications for the MCU. I didn't like how Loki kind of experienced the same arc twice, except like a third of the time. But like, other than that, I thought, you know, the chemistry between him and Sylvie, which is a little weird because that's himself, but they were pretty good on screen. There were some episodes that dragged, and it's a little more egregious when you have like 2 episodes that drag and there are 6 episodes. But like, the major implications for the MCU that this show came with was great, and just how, like, I was really invested throughout this entire season, and I'm excited for season 2. Masters of the Universe Revelations is a weird one, because I only watched part 1, I didn't watch part 2, but it's not like I never got around to watching part 2, and I was like, oh, well, looks like I'm not watching it. It's actually because, it's a D tier. part 1. Hey, maybe part 1 and part 2 are 2 different shows. Maybe we can think about that. But part 1's a D tier. Cause look, when this show came out, it was incredibly controversial. I remember, like, everyone's calling Kevin Smith a liar. But here's the thing, he did lie. This was supposed to be a show about He-Man, and it's not a show about He-Man, it's about Teela. And look, like, that's not really a critique on its merits as a show. I was gonna say film, but it's not a film. As a show, it's just its merits as what you were expecting, what you were told it was gonna be, which isn't okay either, for sure. I don't recommend you harass anyone over this. That just, you're almost just as bad if you do that. But the issue here is, as a show, it's not that good either. Teela, who, I get it, you know, big new character, new female character, I get that, but she's not that likable. She has this one friend who's probably more than just friends, which is fine. I don't care if you have lesbians in your show. That's not the. It was a little on the nose there, and it was like, I feel like they tried way too hard just to make it seem obvious that they were telling, that they were like, and it kind of seemed a little in poor taste that they told you one thing and they're doing another thing, and they're also like kind of trying to shove down your throat, hey, and she's a lesbian as well, you know. Again, I don't have a problem with her being a lesbian, but it's like they kind of shoved it down your throat. And also, she was just unlikable. I know a lot of the criticisms I have of this is just of the Teela, but she's the main character. Like, if your main character is unlikable, it's not really a fun watch. I haven't seen part 2. Maybe part 2 is really good, but I don't really want to see part 2. I understand. It was released separately, so in a way I did watch the show, but technically I haven't finished it, so it shouldn't even be on here. Because, by the way, the Book of Boba Fett's not on here, because it's not finished yet. But I mean, I really don't want to watch the other half. Monsters at Work is a C tier. By the way, D tier are shows that I just didn't like. There's no F tier. There's no show I hated. Okay, but C tier and above are shows that I liked. C tier though is Monsters at Work. I liked this show. It was good. But like, I don't know. It kind of dragged a bit. It kind of felt, at a certain point, it kind of felt like an obligation to just keep watching. And, you know, I like Tyler. He was he's like, you know, the least interesting character, but in a show like this, he works as just the straight man in the middle of all this weirdness. But you don't buy that, like, all the other mifters like him. They're kind of bullshitting, and, you know, Duncan, he's just insufferable. And like, there's this one episode where he should have had an arc, he should have learned something, and he should have kind of just made amends with Tyler, but the next episode he just returns to being an insufferable prick. But I guess as a whole, the show's not too bad. I'm gonna give it a C though. Resident Evil, excuse me, Infinite Darkness. I swear, this was originally announced as a movie, but then they split it into, like, I think it was like 4 different episodes, and each episode's called like episode 1, episode 2. Like, they don't have an actual name. So yeah, I can tell this was definitely supposed to be like a 2-hour movie that they just split into 4 episodes. I don't know why they did that, but D tier. It was not good. The animation, I don't know why this is, like, why do you have an animation, like an animated movie or show, that looks like this, like, that has this type of animation style? Like, it looks, I can tell you're trying to make it look like, you know, it's a cutscene from one of the video games, but it really just looks like a cutscene from like a slightly better looking PS2 game. And it just doesn't look right. By the way, there's like this one monster, this big zombie monster they fight at the end that looks fucking awful. And there are two main characters in this show, Leon and Claire. But there's really only one, Leon. Claire does fucking nothing in this show. Oh my god. At a certain point I forgot she was in this show. And she's one of your main leads. That is... How do you do that? It's alright though. After I watched this, I completely forgot I saw it. This along with Masters of the Universe are D tier. They don't belong into an F tier. That's why there's nothing in here that belongs in an F tier, which is why there is no F tier. But these don't, like, I didn't make an F tier for these two because they're not that bad. Like, they're both perfectly watchable. Next one, I can't even tell what this is. Oh, Rick and Morty! Hey! Rick and Morty Season 5. I really like this. It's a bit of a weirder one to rank. Aside from Dark Side of the Ring, which is just a series of documentaries, so I'm not even sure if I can count that one off what I'm about to say. Every show, aside from Rick and Morty, of course, on here is, you know, serialized, has one ongoing story. Rick and Morty, of course, is one of those shows that, you know, don't do that. And I really like the finale. The finale was honestly probably the best part of this one season. It did get a little too meta, and it did kind of get annoying. There are some episodes I didn't like. The one episode where the one thing from an episode that ended up coming back in a later episode was the incest baby. That's the one thing no one liked. No one wanted to see that fucking incest baby come back. Everything else about the show, I really liked it. I'm gonna give it... I'm gonna give it an A. I'm gonna give it an A. Squid Game. I have to put this in S. I was actually thinking SS tier, but I think Squid Game is an S because the ending twist didn't really, that seems to be the one thing a lot of people don't like about this show. And yeah, I agree. I don't like that. I don't like it that much. I feel like it kind of undoes a lot about Il Nam, the old man. I also didn't like that one that one 19-year-old that just wouldn't shut up. Other than that, holy shit, this show is insane. This show is so good and completely justified in being and just blowing up. You know, such a unique concept. Obviously, you know, survival games, survival shows exist. This isn't the first of its kind, but it's one of the better ones. And you know, you have a lot of great characters. Gyun is your main character, and you really do follow him. You really, like, you're with him. You are really rooting for him, but you also root for the girl that sort of teams with him. You're like Song Woo is a really good, like, internal antagonist. My bad. And you know, and there's also the cop that went nowhere. That's another issue. But like, you were really invested in what he was doing. And yeah, it was definitely a really good show. I'm not quite sure about Season 2. Season 2 seems to be about Gi-hun trying to take down this illegal game. And I'm not quite, because you established a bunch of likable characters in Season 1, and you kill them off, so like, a good portion of what made Season 1 so good is like not gonna be in Season 2, so I'm a little concerned about that. But I'm interested in Season 2, whatever that is. Star Wars: The Bad Batch. I'm gonna give it a C. Definitely good, but it did drag a lot. A lot of the episodes were filler. It might have to do with the fact that there were like, what, 16 episodes? So at a certain point, it felt like an obligation, but it was a good show. The episodes that were good were really damn good, and But again, a lot of the episodes were filler. That's the main thing. And also, another thing that I didn't like too much was, what's his face? Crosshair? Crosshair and Hunter, their sort of, like, relationship should have been the meat of the show. It should have been building towards them meeting each other in the finale. But it really didn't. Like, they met each other in the finale and had a bit of a moment where they kind of fought, but it was like, it should have been building towards that. It didn't feel like it was building towards that. So yeah, definitely, I'm interested in season 2 because usually, these Star Wars animated shows, get better as they go on. I guess they didn't really know how to start this show. But yeah, I'm interested. But if season 2 is gonna be like season 1, I'm not sure if I want to keep watching, if I'm gonna be honest. Another Star Wars show is Star Wars Visions. And look, I fucking love Star Wars, alright? Don't get the wrong message. Star Wars Visions is joining the Bad Batch in C tier. And hey, it's not, I don't have the same issues with the Bad Batch, okay? This show, I acknowledge the show is good, but it's not really for me. So, like, you know, this Japanese anime, Star Wars, which is a unique idea. I admire the idea. And the first episode I remember really liking, but the rest of the episodes were fine. They're not for me. That's the main reason why it's in C tier, because if I put it B or A, I would kind of be lying to myself. So I'm gonna put it in C because I acknowledge that it's good. It's good, and for the right person, for like the right crowd, it's probably damn good. But I'm not really that person. I watch it because it's Star Wars. I'll fucking watch anything Star Wars. I said it. I'll watch anything Star Wars. But this one is fine. WandaVision. I remember when this came out and it was huge. Here's the thing. Episodes 1, 2, and 3 were but they were kind of supposed to be because they were sort of like laying the groundwork, if you know what I mean, for because the show takes a huge turn in episodes 4, 5, and 6, which are phenomenal. Some of the best stuff the MCU has to offer. Episodes 7, 8, and 9 sort of fumble a bit. So I'm gonna give it a B because the quality of the show is pretty inconsistent and didn't quite stick the landing. But like the lows are very low, is what I'm saying. The highs are very high. But it kind of left a sour taste in your mouth by the end. I don't want to say sour taste, but it was underwhelming, the end. The show like built up it teased a lot of stuff, and obviously like part of that might be our problem, not really managing our expectations. But then there's also like you clearly hint at things that you're not doing. And they did that. If it was like 1 or 2 things, that's one thing. If it was just the whole Evan Peters, Ralph Boner thing, like it would still be a little frustrating, but that's just one thing. No, they did that with so much in this show, and it's just B tier. I understand it is like definitely different for the MCU, and the highs are extremely high, and I understand why this got a lot of Emmy buzz, and well deserved, I feel. But I don't think it didn't stick the landing. So yeah. Last Marvel show is What If, and What If goes in A tier because I don't think there's a single bad episode. Even the Thor one, which is definitely skippable, I can't really call it bad. I wasn't the biggest fan of how they all sort of connected at the end, because I liked how this was like the one MCU show, or the one MCU thing that wasn't technically a part of one big shared universe. But as I thought about it, I'm like, that's pretty fucking cool, actually. It was pretty cool. And each episode is fantastic. or maybe not fantastic, but like each episode is at least good. Like the Doctor Strange one, the zombie one, the Hank Pym one were all like some great episodes, I feel. And yeah, really good. And last but not least is The Witcher Season 2, which I liked. I'm gonna give it a B. I don't really, I guess I didn't really think about it as much as some of the other shows in A tier, which is why it's not in A tier. But it was a damn good second season of The Witcher. Season 1 was great, and I have a bit of a soft spot for it because it was the first ever show I've properly reviewed on this channel. So yeah, so that's that. Season 2 is definitely an improvement on Season 1, and Season 1 was already great. I really like the dynamic between Geralt and Ciri, and then later on in the season, the dynamic between Ciri and Yennefer was really nice. Where at a certain point, Geralt kind of was relegated to a background character, and some of the other stuff that went on with some other characters, I didn't care too much for, especially with the elves. Like, I didn't give a fuck about them. I honestly wanted to skip whenever they came on screen. I did not give a shit about them. But overall, a solid yeah, okay. We'll give it an A. Alright, now it is time to rank them from worst to best. Order them. Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, Masters of the Universe Revelation, Star Wars Visions, Star Wars The Bad Batch, Monsters at Work, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Dark Side of the Ring, WandaVision, The Witcher Season 2, Rick and Morty Season 5, Chucky, What If, Doom Patrol, Loki, Hawkeye, Castlevania Season 4, Cobra Kai Season 3, Invincible, Squid Game, Cobra Kai Season 4, and number 1 is Arcane, although, honestly, I think maybe we can swap number 2 and number 1. But like, we could just flip-flop. I don't give a shit, really. Oh, that's my ranking of all the shows I saw in 2021, from the worst to the best. Again, Book of Boba Fett's not on here. It'll when I do the shows from this year, it'll be on here. Just because from what we got in 2021 for Boba Fett was 1 episode. So that's not enough. That's definitely not enough. So yeah, what are your favorite shows from 2021? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, be sure to comment, subscribe, or I will pull one of your eyes out of its socket. No, fuck it, I'll pull both of them. So you better subscribe. Bye!